So you're about to move to Maryland here in the summer of 2023. In this video today, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break down 5 critical things that you must know before making a move right now in 2023. So stick around. We're getting started with it right now. Now today, I'm going to break down 5 critical things that are happening here in Maryland right now in 2023 that you've got to be aware of before making a move this summer. Now, the first thing in item number 1, we're going to jump right into, and it's one I've spoken about before. It's the weather. But here's where I'm going with it. I've got to give you an update as to what's happening, and we're going to sort of backtrack a little bit here. And in numerous videos, I tell you how much snow we get and how bitter cold it can be. And in the summer times, how hot and humid and just gross it is outside. Well, things are sort of changing. Now, here's the good part of it, and I'll share that first with you. Right now, it is super pleasant, and it's been this way for probably about 5-6 weeks. Since about the beginning of May, it has just been awesome to go outside. The temperatures aren't bananas. The humidity is extremely low. But there's one missing component that we haven't seen much of, and that is rain. Right now, we are basically starting to look at drought conditions here in Maryland, in particular along the I-95 corridor. And stuff is really dry. People's lawns that looked beautiful and were manicured and now look like just piles of dirt almost in their front yard. I mean, in the last month, I think I've mown my grass maybe 2 times. And typically I'm mowing it once, twice a week in the springtime, and really haven't had to do it. But the challenge with that is it can put us in danger outside. I mean, just think about you're driving down the road and in drought conditions, somebody throws a cigarette butt out the window. That's kind of nasty, but it does happen. I mean, we've had wildfires sort of spark up, not to the extent of something like in California, in some of the western states, but they do happen. And there was an incident not too long ago here in May in Owings Mills where the wildfire essentially spread very, very far. Just last week, as a matter of fact, and I think the majority of the East Coast was affected by it, but we had the horrible wildfire winds come down, bringing the smoke along with it. And it was gross outside. They had code red air quality alerts. Everyone sort of stayed indoors. But right now, the weather is changing. Temperatures are good. Humidity is good, but it is extremely dry. And we, my friends, believe it or not, are praying for some rain right now. Look, if this is your first time to our channel, I want to welcome you. My name is Adam Taylor. I run the Living in Baltimore, Maryland channel. And on this channel, we talk about all things Maryland. We talk about living here, working here, chilling here, and most importantly, getting out and enjoying all the fabulous things you get to do in the great state of Maryland. So if you're interested in learning more about Maryland, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Don't forget to give the little bell a click. That way you are alerted every time we put out another video just like this one. Now, as I always mention, my team and I, we are receiving phone calls, text messages, and emails from folks all over the country that are looking to make a move right here to Maryland, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about making a move, whether it's in 7 days or 70 days, guess what? You have a friend in Maryland that wants to help you with that, and that's myself and my team. So please give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or as always, fan us down with a smoke signal. We've got your back when moving here to Maryland. From Baltimore down the bay, all the way to the beaches in Ocean City, my team and I have you covered. One thing I want to mention real quick before we jump back into the video is this video is super important for those of you that are parents or property owners. So make sure you stick around to the end to get all 5 things that we're going to talk about here today, because it's going to impact you and it's a change from what's going on here presently right now. So item number 2 that we're going to talk about is the property tax assessments. Every July 1st, the new property tax bills come out for all of us that are property owners here in the state of Maryland. In addition to that, 1/3 of the property owners are going to get what's called a new tax assessment. So the state's going to come out and basically say, hey, here's the new value of your property and potentially what your new tax bill will be. Actually, I think that's probably calculated at a later time, but they're showing you what the assessed value will be. Now, typically, it is less than the actual appraised value of the home, but nevertheless, a couple things that you can do when you see this assessment arrive. You can appeal your assessment, and that's always a fun process to go through. I'm being sarcastic here, where you have to go down to the county assessor's office and make your case. Like, hey, this house next to me sold for this, and this one sold for that. I don't think you should raise my assessed value. You can plead and beg and do whatever. Chances are, hate to say it, you're probably going to be stuck with that assessed value. But You get an A for effort and for trying. The tax increase that you may see, the cool part, I don't know if it's cool to pay taxes, but nevertheless, the part that you really want to pay attention to is that new value will be potentially phased in for you over a period of 3 years. And one thing I've got up here on my other screen that I do want to share with you is when you do purchase a home here in Maryland, you must file for the homestead credit. And what the homestead credit does is it limits those of you that see a big jump in your property value. It limits the amount that the state can collect at one period of time. So say your tax bill is, I don't know, easy numbers, $1,000. And for some ungodly reason, it goes up to $4,500 per year. The state caps that increase each year to 10%. So whatever that gap is, it can only move up 10%. And they sort of phase it in. So yes, the bill is still due, but what happens is you're only charged 10% of that increased value jump. And then the state sort of picks up the rest in the form of a credit. So make sure you fill out your homestead tax credit application ASAP as soon as you become a property owner here in Maryland. The third item you've got to be aware of right now is for those of you that suffer from seasonal allergies. Guess what? This dry weather is destroying things with our allergies right now. And look, I suffer from seasonal allergies myself, and fortunately, here before this drought started, they were pretty manageable. Right now, I find myself running to grab a tissue and just sneezing because, let's face it, all this pollen is in the air from the trees and from the grasses. It's going bonkers. So again, those of you that do have allergies right now in Maryland, it is a bit challenging to deal with. All right, if you are liking this video and taking something away from it, fantastic news. I am thrilled that you are. If you would do me just one small favor though, if you would hit that like button down below, it's the one that looks just like a thumbs up, just like this. The reason I need you to do that, number one, I want to get this message out to more people. And YouTube, they love it when people like our videos. So make sure you hit that like button down below. And then don't forget to drop any of your questions down in the comment section here. You know, if you have a question about a particular area or something going on here in Maryland, I want to do my best to help you out and answer that question for you. So let's jump back in and knock these last two items out for you here today. The fourth item you have to be aware of is the inventory here in the Baltimore metro region in particular. Here's what's going on. Right now, there's not many houses. And quite frankly, since COVID, there really haven't been any houses on the market. And what many folks are facing are multiple offer situations where they're competing against so many other homeowners. Now, this is what has sort of transpired. So let's use COVID, March of 2020, as sort of a benchmark. Everyone got locked in their house. They couldn't really do anything. Nothing was really happening. The world was shut down. So what does the government do? And what do all these banks do? They're frantic and they say, hey, we need to find a way to make money even while we're all locked down. So what do? They make interest rates 1-2%. And everybody and their brother goes out there to find a house. And the buyers just flooded into the market. Then COVID stuff started easing up. More homes started to come on the market. And the demand was sort of getting close to being met. But more and more people kept pouring into the market. So what does the government do? They're like, let's turn this down a bit. And basically they started to raise interest rates. In particular, latter part of last year, I mean, I had a client lock in at 7.625% in November. It's the highest rate that I've done in many, many years. Now, what's going on is it went one direction so heavily that people just got scared. They're like, I can't sell my house because I can't afford to move anywhere. So right now, things are sort of in a holding pattern. And ever much so that the federal government yesterday just announced that they're not going to raise short-term lending rates, which is good for you because guess what? It sure beats an increase occurring right now and putting more and more people financially behind to purchase a home. So here's the good news. With that happening yesterday, with the Fed saying, hey, we're going to put a pause on raising interest rates, that's good news for all of us. But here's the deal. Everyone's ears are perked up and their eyes are open and they're watching to see what's going to happen. Because I'm telling you, there are rows of buyers. Just imagine like driving past a farm and seeing all the crows sitting on a fence post. They're all waiting to sort of swoop in and get back into the market. The question you have to ask yourself, do you want to sit on the sidelines and wait and then have so much more competition if rates do decide to tick down? Or do you want to jump in early, get ahead of this, get the home that you want with a little less competition? Now bear in mind, maybe you do take a higher interest rate. Guess what? It's going to be better than going into a multiple offer situation and having to outbid somebody right there by $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, whatever it may be. That number can grow. So it's better to sort of get in now. And if people are going to bid up on the prices of homes, guess what? Your home value is going to increase and you already own it. So my encouragement to folks, naturally, and yes, I am biased on the market. I have a financial interest if you buy a home, but get in with the least amount of competition that you can right now, if you can certainly swing it. All right, here we go. Item number 5 that you got to be aware of. And this one is one where you want to come back to the computer and watch the video. But my friends, those of you that are parents, tell your kids to go away because they are not going to want to hear this. Tell them earmuffs, whatever you got to do. Look, here's the thing. School's starting early next year. And a lot of people, including myself, aren't too happy about it. And it kind of stinks. For the students, for the teachers, everyone's summer vacation days are being shortened. Ironically, today is actually the last day of school. So let me tell you how this sort of transpired. So for the last 8 years, we've had a governor by the name of Larry Hogan. Larry was a big supporter of tourism in the state of Maryland. And Larry always came in and said, hey, you know what? We're going to support the folks in Ocean City, Deep Creek Lake, which are 2 of our top vacation destinations in the state of Maryland. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure schools are finished by June the 15th and don't start back until after Labor Day. So that went on for 8 years while Larry was in office. Now, Larry's gone. He's kicked back, I hope, on some beach. He deserves it for all the nonsense that he had to put up with. But Wes Moore is now our governor. And Wes is coming in. Wes is a newbie to politics. And he's got birds chirping in his ear. Hey, start school early, do this, do that. And yes, he's made the decision to start schools early in August. And it looks like the first start date is going to be roughly that August 28th timeframe. And like I mentioned, this really sucks for the business owners in places like Ocean City, Maryland, Deep Creek Lake, who depend on the summer tourism revenue to keep their businesses afloat. And what's going to happen as a result of this is, say the summer was 12 weeks, now we've shortened it down to 11 weeks. These business owners still want to make the same amount of money. What's going to happen is the prices on staying at hotels, taking your family out to dinner, amusements, all of it is going to go up and make going to Ocean City even more unaffordable for folks. I'll tell you what, it's cheaper to go out of the country for a week than it is to drive your own car and go to Ocean City, Maryland with your family, because the cost to stay there is so stinking high. So Wes, I'm pleading with you, my friend, make sure you start schools after Labor Day. It is going to crush the folks on the Eastern Shore. So my friends, those of you that are moving to Maryland, look, these are the challenges that we are facing here right now. And in reality, these are the things you got to know before you do make a transition. But if a transition is in your near future, guess what? My team and I would love to help you out with your move here to Maryland, but we just need one thing from you. That's for you to reach out and connect with us. So please give us a call, shoot us a text message, send us an email, or schedule yourself a Zoom appointment with us using the link down in the description below. Because you know what? Like I always say, we've got your back when moving here to Maryland, from Baltimore down the bay, all the way to the beaches in Ocean City. We have you covered. Now, before you go, make sure you check out this next video. It's one I specifically picked out for you to help you out in your transition. So until the next video, my friends, take care. We'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.